Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, our mission is, well, it's a bit different. We're unpacking a set of sources about this huge underground world.
Yeah, a world where stories aren't just stories. They're like the building blocks of the place itself, guarded by secret groups.
Exactly, and governed by these really strange rules about narrative, almost like narrative physics.
And we're focusing on this one character who finds his own life already written down, moments from his childhood even.
It's pretty wild, and the core conflict running through everything we looked at, the real nugget here, is this tension.
Between keeping stories pure, like sealed off.
Right, preserving them, versus the idea that stories have to be lived, that they need to change and evolve.
So the question becomes, how do you handle a destiny that seems, predetermined but also wants to rewrite itself?
Okay, let's dive into our accidental protagonist, Zachary Ezra Rawlins.
He's a grad student, right, studying video games, which is interesting in itself, narrative structures and all that.
It is. And he finds this book in the university library, Sweet Sorrows. And opening it just changes everything for him.
It's that classic moment, isn't it, where reality just cracks open, because inside he finds this incredibly detailed account.
Of his own memory, something he thought only he knew from when he was a kid.
Yeah, this encounter with a painted door in an alley more than 10 years ago.
And this door, it wasn't just painted on the wall, it was painted to look real. That technique, trompe-l'oeil.
Trompe-l'oeil, yeah. Designed to fool the eye, like an invitation to something hidden.
And crucially, it had these three symbols on it. Gilded, a bee, a key, and a sword.
And then the symbols are everything in this world, aren't they? They're like the visual language of the secret societies involved.
Absolutely. The key for access, maybe destiny. The sword for, I guess, protection or action.
And the bee. Well, bees suggest community, hidden sweetness, maybe even danger. It's a powerful trio. They're identifiers.
In the book itself, Sweet Sorrows, it acts strangely right from the start when Zachary tries to check it out.
Oh, yeah, the librarian has trouble, right? It doesn't scan properly.
Exactly. It scans improperly first and then as some other book entirely, like it's resisting being cataloged.
Which fits perfectly with this whole theme of stories not wanting to be pinned down, resisting definition.
And once he knows about these symbols, the bee, key, and sword, he starts seeing them.
Well,
everywhere that matters.
Like on that necklace at the party?
Yeah, a layered necklace, bee, key, sword, connecting him instantly to this hidden network.
But it's not just those three. The symbols expand, don't they?
They do. When he finally gets to the real entrance of this underground place, there are these dice, stone dice.
And they have the bee, key, and sword, but also new ones carved on them.
Right. A crown, a heart, and a feather, suggesting me more layers, more meaning.
A deeper system.
And then the ultimate confirmation, those same original three symbols, the bee, key, and sword, are embossed right onto these huge golden elevator doors.
Wow. So literally the key to entering this hidden world, the harbor on the Starless Sea.
So this golden elevator takes him down deep beneath the earth to this place, the harbor. Can you describe it? It's not just a library, is it?
Oh, definitely not. It's vast, labyrinthine. It's described as being made of stories. They're everywhere.
Not just in books.
No. Stories are sealed in jars, painted on walls. They're apparently laid in tiles upon the floor, so you're literally walking on narrative.
Wow, walking on stories. Imagine that. They're even carved in crystal. It's like story as architecture, as environment.
Exactly. It makes the whole idea of preserving stories feel much more physical, much more high stakes. If you change something, you might be changing the floor beneath your feet.
Which brings us to the people who dedicate themselves to this place. The commitment level is extreme, like the acolyte initiation. It sounds genuinely harrowing.
It really is. It seems designed to break down their old self and rebuild them as pure receivers of the harbor's stories.
How does it start?
It starts with sensory deprivation, black silk tied over the eyes, then this really cruel sensory trick.
What?
Yeah, a drop of honey on the tongue. So the last taste is meant to be sweet, but then the sources say the actual taste that follows is blood and metal and burning flesh.
Oof. And it gets worse, doesn't it? The sources are specific about the tongue itself.
They are. It says the tongue is taken, burned to ash.
Why? Why physically remove the voice?
Symbolically, it silences their ability to interpret, to argue, to tell their own stories, maybe. They become vessels.
Muting them so they can only listen.
Right. The text says after the tongue is gone, their ears awaken, and the stories start to truly come to them. It's about complete surrender.
And within this world, you have different roles. There's the keeper, this figure named Rhyme.
Who seems ancient, almost timeless. He says, I have always been here. He's the observer, the chronicler.
But he's not entirely detached, is he? Writing love
So
letters.
apparently, to someone named Mirabelle or Max, even the ancient keepers get caught up in narratives.
And then you have the enforcers,
Yeah.
the guardians, led by Allegra Cavallo.
They're the militant arm, really, protecting the harbor, often aggressively. They operate on the surface, too, unnoticed and unseen.
Their dedication sounds painful. The sources mention they burn their keys into their chests.
Yeah, a permanent physical brand of loyalty. They are the true believers in keeping the story sealed, unchanged.
Allegra Cavallo. When she shows up, she makes quite an entrance. She really embodies that preservationist side.
She does. The description is striking. White suit, white fur coat, faux fur, she clarifies, which is a neat touch.
Yeah, why clarify that? Adds a layer. And her eyes, one dark, one pale blue. Disconcertingly pale blue.
It gives her this unbalanced, intense look. She radiates control, but also danger.
And her methods are pure intimidation, aren't they? Offers Zachary tea.
While he's tied to a chair.
Exactly. And then casual holds a knife behind his ear while talking. It's chilling.
High-stakes hospitality. And she lets him know just how much they know about him.
Oh, right. She mentions tracking his phone, planting a device on him.
Which, luckily for him, he'd left back at his hotel. A small bit of narrative look, maybe.
Maybe. But her aggression, it all comes from this core belief, this metaphor she uses. The story as an egg.
Right. She sees a story as this perfect, contained universe within its chosen medium, like an eggshell.
And she thinks the only way people interact with it, especially now, is to break it.
Yeah, she says, but if it breaks, it is gone. She wants to protect it from being smashed by, what does she say?
Blog posts and hashtags and tourists. Basically modern engagement. She sees it as destruction.
It's the ultimate argument for keeping things pristine, untouched, locked away.
But that view gets directly challenged later, doesn't it? By Mirabelle.
Oh, absolutely. Mirabelle flips it completely with that one question. What is an egg, if not something waiting to be broken?
Boom. Suddenly breaking it isn't destruction, it's potential, activation. It reframes everything.
It really does. But beyond the philosophy, there's an actual mission driving things, too. They need to find these three things lost in time.
A book, a sword, and a man.
Right. And the man is Key. Simon. Also called the Key Collector. His backstory explains a lot about how time works, or doesn't work, down there.
What happened to him?
His original story, the one written about him, involved finding a door in his garden, an invisible door leading to a golden room.
Huh.
He went through it, the door closed, and essentially he stepped out of the normal flow of time, became unstuck.
Ah, so he's the living example of this time displacement. Which leads us nicely into how this world actually handles time, the narrative physics.
Yeah, the keeper, Rhyme, he gives this explanation. It's quite elegant, actually.
How does he put it?
He describes time as a river, mostly flowing in one direction like we experience it.
Okay, standard enough metaphor.
But he says certain places, maybe the harbor itself, or definitely that golden room Simon found, they act like an inlet off the main river.
It's an inlet, so like a little cove where the water doesn't really move.
Exactly. Time doesn't flow there, or it flows differently. So if you step into an inlet like Simon did...
You get pulled out of the main current.
Right. And when you try to step back into the river, you're completely out of sync. Displaced. Confused. Lost.
That makes sense. It explains how you can have characters who are essentially unstuck in time wandering around, and it kind of undermines Allegra's whole keep it sealed idea because time itself is fluid here.
It totally does. And this idea of fluidity, of collaboration, it's physically represented in the harbor too, isn't it? In the doll world.
Oh, the doll world. That was such a fascinating detail. It's not just a dollhouse.
No, it started as one, apparently, but it just kept growing. People kept adding to it. Now it's described as a doll town, a doll world, a doll universe.
It literally expands because visitors contribute to it.
Yes. They're compelled to add little things, scraps from their own reality.
Like what? What kind of things?
The examples are great. Mundane things become part of this miniature world. A thimble becomes a trash can. Used matchsticks create a fence. Loose buttons transform into wheels or apples or stars.
So it's constantly being built and rebuilt by everyone who passes through. A collective narrative space.
Exactly. It embodies the idea that one child's invented world has become another's and another's, until it is everyone's world. It's living proof that stories do change and grow through interaction.
It's the perfect counter-argument to Allegra's sealed egg. The story thrives on being added to, on being broken open and reformed.
Absolutely. But while Zachary's navigating all this weirdness underground, we shouldn't forget his friend Kat on the surface.
Right. Kat Hawkins. Her diary entries show she's trying to figure out where he went. She's doing real-world detective work.
She tracks down this address for something called the Collectors Club, trying to follow the clues Zachary left.
And the hidden organizations notice her immediately, don't they?
Oh, yeah. She gets a text message.
Hmm.
Super creepy. Stop snooping, Miss Hawkins.
Yikes. And when she tries to ask about the symbols online, the B, key, sword,
An admin just shuts it down. A single word reply. Don't.
it shows the Guardians aren't just physical protectors of the harbor. They're policing information, conversation, even online queries, trying to keep the whole thing completely under wraps.
The reach is global and digital. The stakes are clearly very high for them.
Wow. Okay, so wrapping this up, what we've seen today is this incredibly intricate, self-aware world.
Yeah, a universe built on story where characters literally find their lives written down.
And these powerful groups are locked in this fundamental conflict. Should stories be preserved like relics, or should they be allowed to live and breathe and change?
And I think the material itself, despite Allegra's best efforts, leans towards change, doesn't it? The time mechanics, the doll world, they all suggest fluidity is inherent.
Mirabelle's perspective seems to win out in the end. Change is what a story is, after all.
Yeah.
Even if destiny, or fate as it's sometimes called here, gets broken or lost, the pieces tend to find their way back together.
The narrative finds a way.
So the big takeaway really is that stories, maybe even our own life stories, are never really finished. They're always evolving.
Which leads to a final thought, maybe, for you listening. Zachary is the son of a fortune teller, which is fitting, and he realizes something important.
What's that?
That a boy at the beginning of a story often has no idea the story has actually started. He's just living.
That's a great point. So think about this. If your life suddenly appeared in a strange old book, what moment, what object, what choice would you look back on and say, that's where my real story began?
That turning point where you went from just existing to being the protagonist. Something to consider until our next deep dive.